Hello and welcome back. Yeah, here we go. Today we are playing with Chunky, and yeah, his character traits are max HP modifications are increased by 25%. He gets scaling damage percent for every 3 max HP, he gets 1% additional damage. And then he also has 3 HP recovered additional from consumables. So any pears on the ground that you eat will give you an additional 3 HP recovered. You have negative 100% lifesteal, negative 50%, or sorry, yeah, negative 50% HP regen modifications. They're reduced, right? Reduced dodge modifications by 50%, and reduced speed modifications by 100%. So, you might be thinking, oh, this character has so many drawbacks, it seems very weak. Well, yes, he does have a lot of drawbacks, technically. However, that also means you do not need to worry about any of these stats when you are playing him. So that just makes it a lot easier to focus on the stats that are left over. And in this case, I do think a lot of these weapons could easily work. However, we are going to be playing with the chopper. And the reasons for that are it has max HP scaling, so you get very nice damage boost. It has a very nice arc attack, so it attacks in a swinging motion. And then on top of that, it has nice innate crit chance, pretty decent attack speed, and it increases your HP recovered from consumables, which just makes your effect even stronger. Yeah, today we're going to be doing this. Chunky with Chopper. And wave 1 as per usual, nothing to worry about. It's like any other character, you're able to kill everything here, so just make sure you clear out the waves and you go for the tree. If you get a tree spawn, make sure you run over to clear it, and then get back to try and clear the rest of the enemies. Okay, we couldn't get the last two, it's completely fine. And then here, you might be thinking, harvesting luck, what are we taking? We are looking for... Crit chance actually is quite good. Crit chance and melee damage are both very nice. You can take either of those and be super happy in the early waves. Yeah, chopper here. Baby gecko, you know I love the baby gecko. I will take another chopper, and that's it. And a chopper effect is plus melee damage and plus lifesteal. This is of course wasted, unfortunately, but the 5 lifesteal is very nice, and so is the effect from the chopper. So don't worry too much about that. Of course, we're not going to try and get 100% lifesteal. I don't even know if that is actually possible. That might be something like 0.000, infinite zeros, 1% probability to actually get 100% lifesteal without dying. Because any lifesteal below 0% is just does nothing, right? So it'd be a bit ridiculous to try and go for that. Speed, do not forget, we cannot take speed. This will literally give us 0% stats, okay? Do not take this. In this case, we could just go and take some melee damage, and we're happy with that. Another chopper, of course. One reroll, and another chopper. Very nice. And as you can see here, our damage is already scaled up to 12 base damage. And then we have 13% chance to crit. Very happy with that. And you might be wondering, why did he just skip the garden? That's a good question. I did not look. Also, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. We don't really need it. It is, of course, nice, but we'll be fine, even though we skipped it just now. But if you do see that garden item, which basically just gives you a small box, which looks like a little garden, and then every 15 seconds, at that set interval, it will spawn a fruit for you to eat. It can be very helpful. Definitely an item you should take, but I just skipped it on accident. So forgive me, forgive me. And we get a tier 2 luck upgrade, definitely take that. And tier 3 crit chance upgrade, that is amazing. More choppers and propeller hat. Everyone here should know that I am a big voucher for the propeller hat. Always take it. Same thing with lemonade. I think lemonade is great. And it is very early, so we'll actually take the little frog here. I don't think it's the best value, to be honest. But it doesn't technically have a negative effect because the dodge is irrelevant on Chunky. And so you pretty much are just getting pickup range plus harvesting. The problem with the frog is it's actually really expensive, and I don't think it's super high value. Like for example, wheelbarrow is really nice. You do lose 1 armor with wheelbarrow, but it just gives you more harvesting. So I think that sort of offsets that drawback. Also, you can see I'm moving towards the big clumps so I can sort of swing my weapon through them. And then here we're going to be taking plus luck. Don't forget, we cannot take HP regen, dodge, speed, and lifesteal. Well, we can take dodge and HP regen, but it's just not very good value because they are reduced by so much. And we're going to have such a massive HP bar that any HP we do get, HP regeneration that we do get is going to be negligible because we're going to end up with so much max HP by the end of the run. And actually, we're not going to buy this chopper yet. We're going to buy the little frog this time. Like I said, generally we skip it. Wow, these are all quite nice, these three. Generally we do skip the little frog. However, it's early enough in the waves that I'm willing to, you know, put the investment in for that harvesting. Don't forget though that pickup range does also mean that you pick up the fruit from farther away. And I hope you guys don't mind me calling them fruit. They're technically just called consumables, but I think that's so generic. I'd rather just call them fruit or pears, because they kind of remind me of pears with their green color and little stem. Here I'm trying to just focus the spitters so I don't have too many projectiles coming at us. It can definitely be a little scary playing chunky. Oh, tier 3 harvesting. But just don't panic, you know. Damage percent. Yeah, it can be a little scary playing chunky, I'm sure, because you don't really get to have any healing, and you also do not get to get any move speed. You know, just don't panic, just keep your movement clean, focus on the right enemies, and you'll be completely fine. This is interesting. It's so early in the run that I'm actually tempted to buy this, but I am going to skip it in this case. I think 30 luck it would be nice, but we don't need it, so not too worried. And then head injury is completely fine. Damage percent for range. You never need that much range when you're playing, so you don't have to be too worried about trading range for damage. Because priority is always damage, right? Until you have enough of it, you always want to get more damage, and then you can focus on secondary stats like range. We need to clear out these chargers really quickly. They're sort of piling up a bit. Move in a way where they end up sort of standing together so you can cleave them down at the same time. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that was a mistake. I saw it the second it happened and I knew I made a mistake. But we are completely fine, we didn't die. Yeah, that was definitely just a me mistake. Don't move like that. Also here we could easily take triceps 3 and get a ton of damage, but it's so early on, we really like taking luck in this case. Okay, and then the banner would be okay, actually. You know what, I'm going to take the banner here. We're negative in the range, we don't really care that much about knockback, and it gives us some attack speed, which is quite nice. And then here's another garden. I will say if you see a garden, I think it's completely reasonable to take it. It does make your run a bit safer because you can play around it consistently. If you have a garden, then you know you're going to get some fruits every single wave in like a consistent set interval, right? Every 15 seconds. You can see our damage is quite lacking though, so we should probably be breaking the eggs. And chunky does definitely scale quite a bit the further you get, because you need more max HP, right, to deal more damage. If you don't have the max HP, you're not going to be dealing that much damage. We'll go ahead and clear all of these enemies out. And we actually did have enough damage to clear all of these, so there was nothing to worry about. And you can see here, I barely have taken any damage this run. I'm still actually clearing the waves out pretty reasonably. Oh, I didn't get the looter. No, I didn't have enough damage to clear the looter. Okay, here we're going to take some attack speed because we do want to get more damage. And same thing here. Actually, melee damage. Yeah, we do want some melee damage. And then crit chance and a garden and a little muscly dude. These are all incredible. Very happy to take all of them. Cake is interesting. This is just 3 max HP because your passive offsets the negative 1% damage. So you actually get 4 max HP or 3.75 max HP, and then that gives you 1% damage, right? So it is technically good value to take max HP things like this. Like the cake, even if it does take away 1 damage, because that does get completely negated by the actual max HP the item is giving you. You don't want to forget those things. Maybe a nice quality of life change for Brotato would be if they sort of included those effects. Like if you have 25% HP modification, then it should show that when you're playing Chunky. I'm not sure how that would work for coding, since I don't know anything about coding. But I feel like for the players, they would like that a lot. You can see I'm a little bit weak right now. It does partially have to do with the fact that I have 0 armor. Also the fact that I just haven't really taken much max HP this run. So my damage is a little bit low. Can I get this looter in time? I can. Very nice. Just dodging through all of the bruisers to get the looter. Another banner. We're super happy to take that. This we're not super happy to take. I would say it's okay, but I don't really want to lose damage percent. And we do finally get some armor. Now we have 3 armor. Armor is super valuable on Chunky because you cannot get lifesteal, HP regen, right? You can't get speed and you can't get dodge. And these are all sort of secondary stats that help you become more tanky. So you need to replace them by getting enough armor and max HP. And here we go, take this and then continue re-rolling. Broken Mouth is amazing. We do not care about HP regen, right? And then we get another chopper. Upgrade. One more reroll. More armor. We can't lose speed, so this is just +1 armor. That's it. And then repost could be okay for the 2 damage. It's pretty expensive, you know, to take for just 2 damage. So we do not want to take that here. And then this is one of Chunky's favorite waves. Very easy to play through. Your weapon is super good at clearing out a bunch of low HP minions, or enemies. So these chasers and these fin aliens basically just get one shot, and they come in clumps. So yeah, this is definitely one of Chunky's favorite waves, I would say. Just go through, you know, clear everything. Make sure you don't let any enemies despawn, because you don't want to let them pass the 100 enemy cap. If you leave them in the wave alive for too long, then they will get despawned. Definitely don't want to be losing any materials or experience on Chunky's favorite wave. We do see some trees over here, which we could pick up very easily. Go. Okay, we didn't get any loot boxes, but that is completely fine. Oh, Gentle Alien, this is a very nice one. It just gives you 2 max HP, which gets amplified, plus 5% damage. So we're actually going to get 7% or 6% max damage, basically. Recycle this. Skip this. Armor is amazing. These are not HP regen we cannot really use effectively. Attack speed is very good. Okay, since we do have reduced modifications for, or sorry, that's not right. Since we do have only 50% melee damage scaling, taking melee damage is only half as effective. It's actually a lot more effective to take crit chance and attack speed, and damage percent comes from getting max HP. Okay? Here we do have some crit chance. We're actually going to take it, and then max HP is also equivalent to damage. Bean Teacher is really nice, super early. Clover is also quite nice, even though it's a little expensive, but you don't need lifesteal. So this does just basically give you a bunch of luck. And then Insanity, also really nice item, because we get more crit chance. We're currently sitting at 36%. We want to get that as high as possible, try and reach the cap of 100. And then this wave, wave 10, maybe can be difficult, but I'd say for Chunky it's not too bad. Just make sure you're focusing down the bruisers, so they don't overwhelm you. You can see we pretty much just wiped them out in one set of attacks. So it's not too much to worry about. Okay. No issues here, no issues here. And even though we did buy the garden, you can see we haven't actually used it. So, I will say it is not a bad item at all, but it's probably not necessary most of the time. You can see I'm getting hit, right? But the armor's coming in handy here. Oh, there's a looter. You can actually take quite a lot of damage on Chunky, which should be obvious, right? Because he has such high max HP and he has such high scaling, right? This is nice. Ugly Tooth, no drawback. We do not lose the speed. We lose crit chance. This is not a good trade-off, in my opinion. I think we want that crit chance, definitely. And very nice, we get 7 more. And then in this case, we're actually going to take reflexes. We could take harvesting, it's pretty early, but I don't think we need to. We're going to scale it perfectly fine, even without taking something like that. Okay, this is interesting. So you just basically get 10 melee damage, right? Because it scales halfway, and then some knockback. But in my opinion, none of these stats are very good on Chunky. Actually, pretty much none of them, yeah. Knockback can be okay, of course, but we're in the negatives. We don't care too much about it. Like, for example, we will not take Boxing Glove either. This is not very effective with our weapon, and the knockback is unnecessary. And Recycling Machine, we are definitely taking this, though. I realized that since I don't keep track of my stats on items, like in a spreadsheet or anything like that, but I've noticed the Recycling Machine actually gives a lot more materials than I thought it would. And that's just because you end up recycling quite a lot more things than you expect. At least I do. And crit chance. We definitely want crit chance. We're only at 49%. This puts us at 52. And our tier 3 chopper is at 57%. So it actually has innate 20% crit chance on the chopper here. Go ahead and keep looking. One more reroll. Max HP, and we don't lose any valuable stats. So we're definitely taking that. And we'll actually lock the range and the chopper. I think the glasses, even though range might not be super important, the glasses are just, you know, have no drawback, right? And they're also quite cheap. It's just plus 20 range. For a cheap price, I think it's pretty valuable. I tend to take it on a lot of characters. Whether or not you're playing a melee or range character, it can be pretty good. And this wave, we did make it to wave 11 here. You can see we're not struggling. We are killing the pursuers quick enough. That is a good sign. That means our damage is scaling properly. And I mean, I think that should be obvious. We're critting for 86 and 110 with our tier 3 weapon. Also, we have negative drawback, or knockback, sorry, not drawback. Negative knockback, and we're still not struggling against the pursuers, which means we should be completely safe in the future waves. I say from this point, the run is pretty much over. We just have to make sure we don't make any silly mistakes and get ourselves killed. But we are super tanky. Another baby gecko. Super happy to take that. And 4 arms. I did say this is half effective. With the chopper weapon, it's not super strong. But since it's tier 4, it is actually definitely worth taking. This, however, is not. We do not want to try and stack dodge. It's unnecessary. This is way better than taking dodge. In this case, we just take some more damage. Another chopper, glasses, and a ducky. We love the ducky. And let's see, what do we have here? A crown. It is it's pretty expensive, and we don't really have enough melee damage to support it, or sorry, enough harvesting to support it. On the other hand, the schmoop, the schmoop here. This is interesting. We could take it. It would give us an additional 7 point. It would be 7.5 max health, which would also relate or sort of be equal to 2.5% damage percent. But I'm kind of hesitant. I don't think it's worth taking because it does take away from our melee damage, which is the source of our sort of our base damage, right? So we don't want to get rid of our melee damage. Another chopper is nice though. We'll definitely take that and keep going. Okay, versus a boss or versus against the mantis. He just has this sort of six-fold attack where he slashes around himself and sort of towards you. And this changes as he mutates, he starts to charge, and then he just slashes a bunch of times randomly throughout the place where he charged. But as you can see, we're super tanky. Even if we get hit by these slashes, we just immediately healed it back up. I'm standing still, dodge the charge, stand still, completely safe, right? You can see Chunky is probably one of the easier characters to play, as long as you don't die during the early waves. When you get into the later waves, you end up being so tanky that it's almost impossible to die. So I will say, I don't think he is like necessarily S tier, for example. Like his power is not super high capped, Well, it is. He also has a super high cap, in my opinion. But he's definitely easy to play. I'd say, give him an S tier in the easy to play category. This is interesting. We do not actually want to take this though, because our consumables heal us for so much. So I'd rather just take the money here. Keep going. Get a nice max HP. This comes with damage percent. Do not forget. So this is 9 plus the 25% modifier, and that turns into damage percent. So we're at 42% damage. Once we take this, we get 4% additional damage. That's huge. That also means we don't want to take things like injection, because this negative multiplier is also going to take away 2.5 max HP, which loses us damage percent. This is not worth taking, okay? Avoid these negative max HP items and upgrades. Another chopper. Super happy to see that. The bowler hat. I kind of want to take this. It's early enough in the run that I think it's okay to take. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take that. I will not take the weird ghost. That's very greedy. I don't recommend taking that. I'm also not going to take this. I think I really want our crit chance to get a little bit higher. We're still pretty low on it. Chopper is nice. This, on the other hand, I don't like losing max HP at all. However, I'm going to take this because I like the crit chance. Getting more crit chance is the easiest way to increase our damage. Crit chance and damage percent. Otherwise, I'd say we're mostly just, stacking max HP, crit chance, damage percent, and attack speed. Because we already have 7 armor. That is, plenty, honestly. Because I'm going to end this run with definitely upwards of 100 max HP, probably close to 150 or so. I'd say that might be the highest we get to. And that just means we're going to be ridiculously tanky. So we don't necessarily need a ton of armor, though it is very high value. Because the higher your HP pool is, the more value you get from getting damage reduction. Right? You have 200 max HP with 50% damage reduction. It's a lot better than being 50 max HP with, 50% damage reduction. Okay, easy enough, right? We're super tanky, no risk of dying. We do not need speed or engineering. These are tier 2 upgrades. I'd like to see something better. Harvesting. So it's 12 harvesting or 5% crit rate. In this case, I am actually going to take harvesting. I think it's still early enough where I don't feel like it's a waste, so I'm okay to take it here. I'll buy piggy bank, roll one time, baby gecko, and let's continue. Let's sort of abuse the piggy bank a little bit. I will say this item is definitely better and easier to utilize on other characters than the ones we have played so far, but you can definitely utilize the piggy bank. You'll see here, it just gave us 60 materials back immediately. So if you basically skip a shop and then allow a certain amount of materials to stay in your inventory, you can definitely make use of the piggy bank. The earlier you get it, the better as well. So it's kind of an interesting item, right? Because it scales with how much money you have. So in theory, it's better early because you get to utilize it for more waves. But if you get it much later, it's still perfectly fine because you're getting so much more materials in the later waves that it just means that the piggy bank has more to multiply. So you don't really miss out from taking it during the middle waves. But if you do take it super late, like, I don't know, maybe post wave 16, it's probably not worth it, at all at that point. But since we are only on wave 14, we have a ton of materials and money to gain from taking it. And you can see I'm pretty much just standing still. I'm not really doing anything this wave. I'm just killing enemies by standing still, and we're just so tanky it just doesn't matter. This is interesting. It's basically 138 materials. That's really nice, to be honest. I would actually take it with the crit chance here, but it's worth so much that I think it's worth selling. And then here, we can actually take some melee damage. Since our scaling is doing quite well, these are not good. We don't want to take HP regen. Attack speed, this is perfect. We like to see. Cyclops Worm, really nice. Some melee damage for harvesting. I'm actually going to skip it. I don't think we want to take that. This, on the other hand, Hedgehog, very nice. Damage percent could be good, but we don't really need it. Some more armor is always quite welcome here with our massive HP pool. I'm going to go ahead and buy this and roll one more time. And then we get a lot of items that we want to buy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to buy the lure for the items, not for the actual HP regen. And I'm going to leave the choppers, okay? Because we're going to take advantage of the piggy bank, like I said. We're strong enough. And the piggy bank just gave us 100 and... Oh, no, sorry. Gave us 80... 87 materials? Is that right? Yes. So the piggy bank just gave us 87 materials because we didn't buy the choppers. So we're technically losing out on the chance to see 2 more items in the shop. But that's okay, right? We're sort of showcasing the piggy bank a little bit here. That's the point. And either way is effective, because you know how much material, or you know how much the piggy bank is going to give you, but the shop is still RNG, right? So those 2 item slots are not necessarily super important. It could easily just be 2 worthless items. And at this point in the run, just getting more money means we are going to win the run successfully. We're very safe, super tanky. I'm standing still, getting hit by as many things as possible. It just doesn't matter, right? I'm like, look at my health. It barely moves, and then I full heal from moving over some consumables. So Chunky definitely scales really quickly. It kind of gives me a bit of the same feeling that I get when I play Crazy. It's a bit different, of course. Crazy gets so many materials that you just end up being super rich and buying everything. So you're just overloaded on stats from being rich. Chunky, it just kind of comes in his kit that he's very tanky and ridiculously hard to kill. We'll go ahead and take melee damage. We'll buy these, of course. Roll a tiny bit. We will buy this. Coupon. Crit chance. Crit chance. Another chopper. One more reroll. We didn't get anything. We're going to go ahead and abuse the piggy bank again. 147 materials gained, and now it's 282, nearly doubled. So this one piggy bank has given us about 300 materials at this point. Right, in 3 waves, it gave us 300 materials. It's pretty good, right? That's almost the amount of income you would get from a single wave. So in 3 waves, it pretty much gave us 1 wave's worth of materials. And we could have definitely gotten even more out of it if we wanted to be, you know, technically very greedy. But at this point, the run is pretty much won. So that is why the piggy bank is not super great on a lot of characters. It's just okay. It does something, it's useful. If you get early enough, you can just have it in your inventory and it will pay you back your investment. But there are certain characters that absolutely love the piggy bank and are super happy to have it throughout their run. And here, again, we're so tanky, it doesn't really matter much what we do. I will say you just want to focus on getting everything into groups and cleaving them down so you can get as much value as possible from your weapons. More damage percent. We don't need engineering. Max HP is damage. 68, give us 5% more damage percent. This as well. Speed does not matter to us. We can go ahead and take this. Cyber Ball. Sure, why not? Max HP plus 15, plus 10% enemy health. This is not great. Max HP we love, right? But giving enemies 10% more health is not a good choice, generally speaking. Oh, this is interesting. So this gives us a bit of HP regen and some range, but it caps our speed. But the thing is, our speed is stuck at 0. However, I don't think HP regen or range, and definitely not engineering, are super useful on Chunky. Go ahead and skip that. Alien Eyes, on the other hand, is very good on Chunky. You have so much max health, the scaling on Alien Eyes is really nice. And we're going to kind of skip this next shop to see our piggy bank explode once again. 282, and then it goes up to 452. So we just got an additional, right, 170 materials from the piggy bank. Piggy bank power, right? That's what you get from having a piggy bank in your inventory and actively trying to use it. But like I say in general, there's a lot of situations where you can just skip it. Generally speaking, I think if you skip piggy bank every time you see it, on most characters, you will be completely fine. And of course, in this guide, I'm saying what you should do for each character. So if you do end up watching all of the guide videos, then you will know which characters really like the piggy bank and which characters don't really care too much for it. Also, I think Brotato is such an interesting game, since there are 48 characters, right? The items, you can technically give them sort of ratings, or say like, oh, this item is S tier, this item is A tier, so on and so forth. But it's very weird because items do such different things on different characters that it's hard to say, you know, like a cog. The cog on Chunky obviously is F tier, right? It doesn't do anything. You don't need engineering and you don't need knockback, and it takes away damage percent. This item is terrible. But there's certain characters that would love to have a cog. So you can't really say what the cog, you know, it's all about sort of the situation, all about context. And here we could take weird food. It's very decent item. It's very late for the crown. It's not worth taking. These don't do anything, of course. Focus. Okay. This item is great. It's just 30% raw damage percent. You lose barely any attack speed. This is pretty much always worth taking on any character that just wants to deal damage. Lure. Very nice. This is also pretty late. We'll go ahead and skip that here. Actually, do I want the alloy? The alloy is quite nice, right? Our crit chance is at 68%. I'm actually going to take the alloy here. Gets us up to 73% crit chance. Crit chance is the stat we want the most right now. And we actually managed to get 4 baby geckos. Let's go. Exodia, right? Now we don't have to walk around and pick up materials. They will immediately fly to us, which we love. Ritual is just damage percent. It's very expensive damage percent though. So we're going to go ahead and skip. Use our piggy bank another time. 452. And now it will be at 550. It basically gave us another 100 materials there. And here, I honestly believe we can clear out the boss or the slashers, even if they do all spawn. So I'm not going to purposefully hit them. I'll let them hatch if they would like to. The only problem is the boss kind of ran into his own eggs, so I ended up hitting them. You can see here we're dealing nearly 400 damage. I think this is almost the highest damage you guys have seen in any of the character runs so far. Starting from well-rounded, of course, till now. And so you can see what I meant when I said Chunky's scaling is a bit ridiculous. He does give me a bit of the same feeling that Crazy does, sort of just insane scaling. I will say though, I think if you played Endless, I'm not sure how Endless works, if there's sort of specific modifications, so you don't like have infinite scaling, but I do think that if the characters played exactly the same, Chunky would definitely perform way better than a lot of characters in the long run. Because you just get to stack max HP, which gives you free damage, and then you get to get a bunch of armor, which makes you super, sort of impossible to kill. This is interesting. It is only 3% crit chance, the other effects here are not important, but I'm actually going to take it. Even though it can recycle for quite a lot, we're near the end of the run, so I don't think it's worth skipping. This, on the other hand, gives us 10 raw melee damage. The other stats pretty much do nothing. So it's basically, do we want 10 additional melee damage scaling for our weapons in exchange for 8% damage lost? I think that is definitely worth it. So we're going to go ahead and take that. This one as well, definitely worth it. Melee damage and max HP for this in exchange for a little bit of attack speed loss is completely fine. Here we'd like to see crit chance, and we saw it immediately. I mean, we had so much money, it would have been pretty much impossible to not find crit chance there. Now we're at 85%. As you can see, the chopper has 25% chance to crit innately at tier 4. And then we have 60, right? So 85 in total. So if we get another 15%, we will be completely capped on crit chance, which would be incredible. We'll go ahead and buy both of these. Move on. Oh, I skipped the chopper. I was not paying attention, I'm sorry. Could have just upgraded it there. My fault. Another chopper. Oh no. No. I skipped one so it didn't work out how it should have. More crit chance. Skip. More armor. Skip one more time. More reroll one more time. More luck. And that's it. We'll save the rest of the money for the piggy bank. You're going to get another 100, right? 550 to 650. So you can see here, if you do actively use the piggy bank, you can definitely get materials out of it. It's just that it's not super necessary, to be honest. On, any of the characters we've played so far, definitely not necessary on Chunky. You can just spend your money and be completely safe. Chunky is a scaling monster. You just end up becoming invincible, right? Your max health is ridiculous. You heal for insane amounts if you do take damage. And since you get so much max health and so much healing from consumables, if you do take, let's say 10 armor, you are pretty much impossible to kill. Even if you just do the bare minimum amount of movement, you will just never end up dying on this character at some point. And as I say that, I'm cleaving enemies for 400 damage each, just to make my point a little bit clearer about how well Chunky scales. And it's not like we got anything super special this run, right? I'd say it was a pretty average run. Defective Steroids is good. Skip here, skip here. More max HP. Speed doesn't do anything. These don't do anything. More max HP. and and another focus just to make the enemies suffer even more. Let's reroll. Mastery is good. Reroll. We don't want to lose crit chance. We'll take that. One more reroll. And another spicy sauce. And that's it. Here we go. We keep barely not getting all tier 4 weapons. Last run on the mage, we only had 5 tier 4s and a tier 3. Same thing, right? 5 tier 4s and a tier 3. But that's okay. Eventually we'll be able to get 6 shiny orange weapons and feel happy looking at them. Stack up the bosses so we can kill them at the same time if possible. Just dodge absolutely nothing because it doesn't matter. I can just heal immediately back to full health by eating some consumables. And they're both dead. And as you can see, we ended the run with 160 max health, ridiculous damage percent, melee damage, armor 14, luck, and harvesting. So yeah. And do we have any items that we want to look at here? The recycling machine gave us 700 materials. So this item, compared to the piggy bank, right, 650. Of course, we did get this earlier, but think about this, right? The recycling machine sat in an inventory and was forgotten, and it gave us 700 materials. The piggy bank we actively tried to use, and it still only gave us 650 materials. So this is very, very, very good sort of value on a lot of characters. I think any of the characters I've played so far would love this item. Okay? And then again, Tentacle 153 healing, piggy bank 653 materials, coupons 239. We got these very late in the run. This would have been much higher if we got it earlier. Cyberball 15,000 damage, Alien Eyes almost 24,000 damage, and that's it. Okay, that is the Chunky. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And next time we will be playing Old. Okay, so I hope you look forward to it and you come watch that video. Okay, that's all for now. Bye bye.